Hey guys, Scott Fishman here for Wrestling Inc. And today I have an incredible guest, one of my favorites over the years, Velvet Sky. How are you doing today?
Thank you. I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Before we get started, I have to show you the shirt that I wore today. I think you'll be one to appreciate it.
Carolinas! Yes. That's one of
I,
my favorite shows as a kid. Oh my God, I loved when it was on. I'd watch it all the time. I loved it. Big
yeah, I know. When I
stuff.
was thinking
Sure.
of when I knew I was having you on, I was like, oh, I saw this shirt in my drawer. I was like, who's gonna really appreciate this Nickelodeon
Me,
back in
oh my
the day?
God,
Going
I
back.
lived and breathed Nickelodeon, Snick, all of those shows. Loved Camp Anawana, loved UGG, Donkey Face, all of them. They were my favorite. Loved it.
It's crazy though when you look back at those shows because they weren't even on that long when you think about it. But these are just shows that just stay in our memories forever.
They made such a huge impact for sure. Like I watched it, like, this is from my childhood too, that the movie The Never Ending Story. I just watched that for the first time in like 20 years the other night. And I'm like, man, that just brings you right back to your childhood. And it's like watching it, I had somebody watching it with me that never saw it as a kid. I know. It's like,
Wow.
and I'm like, you have to watch this. And when you watch it as an adult, like I still have like mad love for it just because like I saw it as a kid and it's the same era as like Labyrinth, Princess Bride, movies like that. So I still have like, even though it comes across as cheesy nowadays, like someone who has never seen that movie, um, I can see how they might think it was cheesy, but the person liked it. So, but like me watching it as an adult, I'm like, oh my God, you don't realize how cheesy it is when you're a kid, but good cheesy because I love it. So I miss it.
Is there anything that you introduced Bully to when something that he hadn't seen before?
Well, there was a movie. It's an 80s movie. Do you remember with John Candy and Dan Aykroyd, The Great Outdoors?
Oh no, I hadn't. I know I've heard of it, but I never got to
Oh
see it.
my God, that is a classic 80s movie. Classic John Candy, classic Dan Aykroyd. Dan Aykroyd's the big heel in that movie. It's so funny. And it's just one of those feel-good comedy, you know what you're getting when you see a John Candy movie. You
Yeah.
got to see that. You have to see it. It's so funny. If you love John Candy, then like check it out, The Great Outdoors.
Awesome. Definitely going to do that. There's
Yeah,
so many things to talk about here, but one of
I
the things I wanted
know.
to one of the things I wanted to bring you on is because you've been doing such a great job with the NWA, and it's kind of like this pleasant surprise that we didn't expect to see the last couple of months. And just curious, so how did kind of this opportunity first come about? Like when I last talked to you, you kind of had dipped your feet outside of the wrestling business. You were focusing on personal training. You were
Yeah.
doing appearances here and there, but now you're kind of back in the fold in a lot of ways.
Well, yeah. So I kind of when I retired from wrestling in 2016, I knew like I was just done in the ring. I felt good. My body felt good. I didn't retire for any other reason than my contract was coming up. And I'm like, yeah, I really don't want to bump anymore. I want to go forward and be healthy and take care of myself. And so I made the transition to personal training. I got my certification and I started kind of like working on my body and kind of building up strength and kind of trying to self-heal from all the damage I did to my body throughout my 16, 17 year plus in-ring career. I was still doing appearances, though, only retired from in-ring action. So I did personal training for about a year, and then the injuries in the neck and the spine, a couple of years, no, 3 years after I retired from the ring, the neck injuries just started appearing in my neck and in my spine.
Wow.
And that actually put my personal training kind of career to a halt too, because I couldn't be in the gym, lifting weights and showing clients exercises with weights and whatnot. If I couldn't even do it myself, I was so weak and just the herniations and the bulges. And I have like a functional or a structural scoliosis, one of those, I can't remember which one, where your spine's a little bit curved. And that's all from, damage from being in the ring. So that kind of came to a halt. And then I got hit with a plethora of just different unexpected health issues in late 2019 going into 2020, and then COVID hit. So on top of the health issues, it's like, oh my God, you got this pandemic going on and lockdown. And it was just a really, really hard time for everybody. But I mean, I was really like suffering because I was really messed up.
Mhm.
And I never thought I was going to recover from what I was going through. And it's just like, I never thought I was going to work in wrestling again. Like even with appearances, I just never thought the opportunity would present itself because I had been in talks with a few other wrestling companies in the past before I got injured. This was right before I signed with Ring of Honor. And they were all like, well, we would love to have you, but we need you to wrestle if you're going to be here. And I'm like, guys, like, no more bumps for me, no more bumps. I'm done. And they're just like, sorry, we would want you to wrestle. So I really thought like my time in wrestling like was over. And I'm like, I just have so much more to offer than just wrestling. You know what I mean? Like I felt like I could have fit in so many other different roles besides just being a wrestler. And I always wanted to kind of just branch out and just explore other options in wrestling. And I was really, really good friends, well, am really good friends with Billy Corgan. Because when I had my last run in TNA, when I came back as like the badass, velvet stoic face, when I was feuding with
denim.
yeah, the denim and the ripped jeans and all that, stuff. And I was feuding with Angelina. That's when Billy Corgan was there, and he was kind of working behind the scenes with talent and on their characters and just giving them ideas and stuff. So him and I worked very closely on my character, and he had a lot of good ideas for me. And I just had, I am first of all, like I was always a huge Smashing Pumpkins fan growing up. So to like be able to like work, hand in hand with Billy Corgan, I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. Like, this is awesome. Not to fangirl or anything, but I grew up on Smashing Pumpkins music. So then he left TNA for the same reason, like most people did at that time. Management was just like, and he wanted out, even though he was doing a really, really good job in helping talent backstage. So fast forward to March of this past year. Now, Billy and I kind of kept in touch when I was having health problems. He always not always, like he periodically would reach out and say, hope you're doing well, hope you're healing up, So we never like really lost touch. And then this past March, I got a phone call from Pat Kenny, because Pat Kenny works very behind the scenes next to Billy in the NWA. And Pat Kenny, for those of you who don't know who Pat Kenny is, Simon Diamond, so he called me up in March and he said, an opportunity has come up that, Billy wanted me to give you a call and present this opportunity. And I was like, okay, cool. I'm all ears. What's up? And he said, he wants you to do commentating. And at first I was like, oof, it's not that I wasn't like confident, but I wasn't like really versed at this point in wrestling like anymore, because I hadn't watched it. I really didn't know who any of the new people were in any wrestling company, because I just kind of fell out of touch with it once I left Ring of Honor. So at first I was excited. I was like, Pat, definitely. I'm like, but like, I don't really know a lot of the people, like the wrestlers in NWA. Like, I don't know, their backstory, the feuds, the moves and stuff like that. And I don't want to just kind of be thrown in and, like not pretty much set up to fail. And he's like, we would never do that to you. We would never set you up to fail. Be confident, you know what you're doing, just familiarize yourself with the roster. You have, just make the decision. You have a couple of weeks to kind of familiarize yourself with this one and that one and their moveset and their story and their feuds and stuff like that. So I was like, absolutely, I cannot pass up. I won't pass up this opportunity, especially since Billy asked for me to do it. I'm like, well, if he asked for me to do it, then he's very right. So I was like, there's no way I'm passing this up. This is something, I always wanted to just, like I said, branch out of in-ring competition and kind of do something else in wrestling. And I felt like this was the opportunity. So I will admit though, like I was hesitant for a minute. I'm like, all right, Pat, let me just give me a few days to kind of just roll it around in my head and think about it, even though I just wanted to be like, yes, I'll do it. But then I was just like, you know what, like, this is my shot. I'm going to do it. And if I say no, or if I hesitate too long, who knows, they might find a replacement. I'm like, I'm just going to do it. I'm very confident in myself that I would be able to catch on pretty quick. Because when you're in wrestling this long, it's like, I don't know. I just feel like you can adapt to like all roles, because you just, it's just in your blood, and then you just, you just get used to it. And I did very quickly. And thankfully, the other two commentators, Joe and Tim Storm, they took me right under their wing, and they immediately, they just helped me. And I was so comfortable and confident sitting beside them, because they kind of led me and guided me and kind of like set me up to like, say certain things. And I will admit, like the first go around that I had on commentary, and it's okay, I'm not being hard on myself, but it is what it is. It wasn't the best. I guess I was talking very low, and I needed to, because when you have the headset on,
You don't know. Yeah, you're
you
just
don't
hearing
know.
what you hear. Yeah.
Right, like my headset was turned up too loud or something. So I have the headset on, and as I'm commentating, it sounds like my voice is on 10. So I'm like, all right, let me just kind of like take it down a little bit. Then I watched it back, and it sounded like I was whispering, and I'm like, oh no. But the first couple of days, we film a whole season worth of shows in about 3 days.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like, yeah, and it's great because it was kind of like back to back to back to back to back shows for me to kind of like really dive into and kind of get used to what I was doing. And by the second day, I was like, oh wow, like I'm already very, very comfortable and very confident in my ability to continue with this commentary, especially with Joe and Tim next to me, and just, Billy giving me the opportunity. I'm like, this is just it's surreal. It's amazing. So that's
well, it's interesting because when you look at the female commentator, it almost happened the same way with Madison Rain, where she was put in that kind of position and she really kind of grew into that role. Did you guys conversate at all about this opportunity beforehand or during the experience? Since she
Madison
kind of went through it?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
Madison and I haven't spoken in a couple of years. I haven't been in touch with her, and vice versa. So, no, I had not spoken to her about commentating. I kind of just, went in and said my prayers. Like, God bless me, got me through this. Like, please don't make me sound like an idiot. At this point, I'm very, very comfortable in my role as a commentator there. I caught on very quickly as to who's who I didn't know before I went in there, what their storyline is, what their finishing move is, their feud, everything. So I'm very, very comfortable at this point, doing what I do now. And I'm very grateful for this opportunity as well.
Well, with Bully hosting Busted Open, he's very he has a good eye and a good ear. So what kind of feedback has he been giving you? Or has he been helping you like with that sort of thing? I mean, are you been like, here, let's watch this together? And see.
No, we haven't really watched we haven't really watched any of the commentary back together. He's kind of watched it on his own time, and his feedback was pretty much like the same as like what I just said. Like the first couple of runs were, ooh, you're talking a little bit too low, and the more he watched every week, the more he's like, wow, you kind of like, you're naturally kind of fell right into that role. And it's just like with the experience. And that was I feel like that's the good thing about having the back-to-back shows. I mean, I don't even know how many shows we would film in one day, maybe 3 or 4. And we have 3 days of that, including a pay-per-view. So it's just like the more experience, the better. And I'm just very excited to like be in the position that I'm in. And next month, we have an all-women's pay-per-view that I'm very excited to be calling. And then we have our regular pay-per-view, and then we have 2 days of TV tapings. So it's going to be a lot. Yeah.
I was gonna, how important it is. I mean, I think it's great that because there should be a female voice, I think, in all wrestling shows. And I think it's a natural progression, and you're kind of helping move that needle forward. Talk about just what, as you're kind of getting back into the landscape of wrestling a little bit. I mean, and this women's pay-per-views coming up. Talk about just what has it been like as far as for women in the NWA to have this now to work towards with Mickie James as the producer of this project. Have you also been able to lend your input when it comes to certain things in addition to commentating?
So I'm still really new to the company, so I don't want to like step on toes or anything like that. But I kind of just stick to the commentating for right now. If ideas do come up that I feel like maybe would be a good idea, I would not be hesitant to take it to Billy and say, hey, what do you think of this? But I'm still so new. It's only my second time doing commentating, and when we did them in June. But as far as the all women's pay-per-view, I'm very excited for that because it's going to give a lot of women who are up and comers on the independent scene a shot to shine and to get noticed and maybe get their name out there and maybe get a job in NWA, or maybe some other company will see them and be like, wow, okay, this girl's got a good look. She's good in the ring. Let's give her a call and see what her story is. So I'm excited for that because it'll just, showcasing women, and it's the first time the NWA has done anything like this. So it will be pretty iconic.
Yeah, for sure. And then with Mickey, at the helm, I'm sure, she has an eye for talent. Even, you hear the stories of her in the WWE and having these ideas, and, it's falling on deaf ears. So now this is a platform for her to kind of see what comes of it. So I'm excited myself to see what happens with that.
Yeah, she'll be the executive producer, and I'm pretty sure she has a pretty good say. And I think she's making the phone calls to certain female wrestlers to book them for that show. So I'm very interested to see who will be brought in. I don't know any girls yet that will be brought in. I don't think anybody really knows, maybe but Billy and the higher ups. But I'm very excited for all the girls that are going to be coming in and getting a chance to shine. And it will be like the first ever women's tournament or tournament pay-per-view at the end.
Yeah.
Yes.
As a fan of your, the women, some of the women that are on this land, and is there anyone in particular you would love to see come into the NWA? It's been great to see like veterans like Melina and even Taryn Terrell, who I haven't seen in a couple of years now, having this opportunity to compete again. I think that's been a fun part. And even going back to Jazz being the champion, I thought that was really cool too. So from your standpoint, who would be kind of a cool addition to this tournament, you think?
I wish
pay-per-view. Now you got me doing it. Pay-per-view.
The only reason I think is because Ring of Honor is having their women's tournament. And I've been talking to Angelina Love about it. We've been texting back and forth about it. So I have the word tournament in my head. But I wish, she's great. She's doing Angelina's doing a phenomenal job right now in Ring of Honor. She's under contract, but I kind of wish that she wasn't, so that she could come over to the NWA, because it would just be cool for her wrestling and kind of me calling the matches. But I don't know. I feel like every girl I don't know a lot of the newer kind of up and coming indie girls, just because, again, I've just fallen out of the loop with wrestling. So I don't know who's who as far as new girls go, but pretty much everyone is under contract either with AEW, WWE, Impact, Ring of Honor. Chelsea just debuted. Chelsea Green just debuted at Ring of Honor yesterday. So I feel like everyone out there that I know is female wise is already kind of scooped up and under contract, or, already with a major wrestling company out there. So that's why I was saying, I'm glad that it's going to give girls on the indies that maybe new faces, new opportunities, so that they can kind of have their moment to shine and get their name out there and stuff like that. So that's what I'm more excited for.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, you were talking about Angelina being under contract with Ring of Honor, but, it's, NWA has been showing, their champion was showing up on AEW programming. So I feel like, it's not out of the realm of possibility to see wrestling companies collaborating, working together, which I think would be great for the fans anyway. So we'll see what happens.
Working at the NWA, I just have to say, and I'm not just saying this because I work there, I wouldn't even bring this up at all if I was, I'm not trying to kiss butt or anything. It really is a breath of fresh air. It's like everybody gets along so well. From the girls' locker room to the guys to management, everybody just works hard together as a family. And it's really I look forward to going there. I get excited about going there. There's no cattiness amongst the girls, and they're bringing new girls in all the time. And there's some mainstays there too. There's no cattiness. There's no jealousy. There's no whispering. It's just based on, mutual respect for one another and etiquette and old school values, that I feel like are kind of a lost art in this industry nowadays. I feel like there's just no more wrestling etiquette or respect. It's kind of gone out the window. I see a lot of up and comers that are just, I see on social media about it's the entitlement age. So it's back in my day when I was on the indies, you'd go to a show just in hopes of getting your name out there and getting booked on other shows, and in hopes that the big leagues would see you. And I would do that. We would do that. And me and, countless other indie wrestlers back in the day for, little to no money, sometimes gas money, sometimes no gas money, that's paying your dues. And I feel like this day and age, with it being the entitlement age, I see a lot of well, where's my $100? Oh, I'm just doing that. It's just a stepping stone. Oh, I don't need that. It's just it's different. The landscape of the business is a lot different from what I remember when I came up. And to tie it all together, that's what I meant when I talked about respect and etiquette. And that is all there in the NWA. So it's like a breath of fresh air to go there and see familiar faces and meet new people, and the new wrestlers and management that I met there. I mean, everyone is just it's just very, very pleasant place to work. And I'm just so happy there.
Would you say it kind of brought your love of wrestling back? I mean, it seemed like there were times where you're, disappointed in a run, or, something would happen and we're like, here we go again. So maybe this is the kind of a chance to kind of go back and kind of have a nice bright spot for that.
Yes, it's definitely reignited the flame inside of me for wrestling, even though I'm not in the ring. I don't miss being in the ring. I don't regret being in the ring. I'm glad I'm kind of on the other side of the ropes now, and I get to just sit back and kind of just watch them, all the amazing athletes there, do their thing. Because I mean, the NWA they have so many talented wrestlers on that roster, up and comers, old faces. It's just like, it has kind of reignited that flame inside of me and my passion for wrestling, because I did kind of fall out of it when I retired from wrestling in 2016. It was a management thing. I just wasn't, no one at the time in 2016 in TNA was happy. We were all very, very grateful for the opportunities that we've been given to work in TNA. But at that point in time, I wanted my contract to run out. And I was just like, guys, thank you. You've given me a platform, a great career here, but I pretty much did everything I wanted to do in this company. It was a pleasant exit for me. There was no heat or animosity. But since then, I just fell out of the wrestling loop. And I was just like, yeah, it's really, it's changed. It's not for me anymore. I'm not competing anymore. And then in 2019, the Ring of Honor opportunity presented itself to myself and Angelina, and Mandy was there all along. But when we debuted at Madison Square Garden, it was like, wow, this is crazy.
Yeah,
this is crazy. I'm like, okay, so that was kind of like my first kind of like reintroduction, to the business, being able to just go out there, even though I didn't wrestle, just kind of perform and be on the microphone in front of a live crowd. I had missed that. And it is what it is. Like Ring of Honor, I mean, I have nothing but good things to say about them, but even they have sort of some kinks that kind of need to be worked out, that, may have you scratching your head as far as this, that, and the other thing goes. But again, I think Ring of Honor, I think Impact, but I mean, NWA is just where it's at. And again, I'm not saying that to kiss butt, because I work there. I wouldn't bring it up and say it at all if I, had any qualms against it. But it's just really, really, I'm just so excited. And Taryn and I talk a lot outside of Ring of Honor too. And we're just like, I'm so happy that you're there. I'm so happy that we're there together. And it's just like, she's super excited too. It's nice to see Melina, Camille, it's just, it's a great place to work. It's really, yeah.
And for you, I think what's, for a lot of fans, including myself, that you never really got that last run, because you're saying, you had to retire and it was just a retirement. You never got this, what other professional wrestlers have gotten the chance to kind of really like a Gail Kim or someone where they knew this date, I was going to have this dream opponent. So tell me kind of how you feel that you never got that. And also, if you did have that, who would be that last opponent for you?
So the way you do business in wrestling, and I don't know if this is breaking too much kayfabe, it's like when you leave a company, you put somebody over on the way out. That's just what it's wrestling 101, So I remember when I was in TNA, and this was 2016, and it was my last match, and it was against Sienna, Allison Kay. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I believe at that point, she was relatively new to the company, and they were trying to like build her. And they asked me like, would you, this is who we want you to work with. Would you mind, just kind of, putting her over, and it's your last night. And I no problem. Like, I'm all business. I don't have any like ego. Like, I'm not laying down for her. You know what I mean? I'm always just the company, happy go lucky, velvet, so I didn't really have much like expectations as far as my exit match went, because I already knew what was going to be asked of me. And as a professional wrestler, being a wrestler and a professional at the same time, you do good business on the way out. You don't want to ever leave a bad taste in a company's mouth, because you never know. Like, if opportunity ever presented itself in the future to return there, you don't want the taste to be a bad taste in your mouth. Like, oh, the ego, she had an ego. She didn't do what was asked of her on her way out. Not that I owe anybody anything or like that. I I was never an ass kisser, ever, 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 ever. But like, I'm a good businesswoman. I know what it takes to do good business in wrestling. And as far as a dream opponent, I'd say I really didn't have a particular person in mind, because I had wrestled pretty much so many girls that what came and gone through TNA over my almost 10-year stay there. So I didn't really have anybody in mind to, really want to wrestle on my way out. I got to wrestle a lot of, cool women. I mean, I watched Lisa, Victoria, Tara, in WWE, WWF back in the day. And just to be able to work with her when she came to TNA, again, it was like, wow, this is surreal. I used to watch this girl and like idolize her when I was like not even in the business yet. And here I am, working with her. And so I kind of had my taste of kind of dream opponents and matches during my time in TNA and on the indies too. They'd bring kind of legends and, old school wrestlers in. So that's pretty much what was
the last match? What was your last match? Who was your last opponent?
My last match was Sienna. I didn't have
Sienna. That was your last. Oh, okay. That's not a bad last opponent then.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Okay.
I was excited to work with her because, she, again, she was new to the company, but she's not new to the business because she's been around for a long time. And I'm glad that they, at the time, gave her, the chance and the opportunity to shine there. I had never worked with her, wrestled with her prior to that. I don't think I ever really met her before that, but she's very cool girl. We clicked immediately. I had no problem, doing, what I had to do on the way out of the company for her. And I have nothing bad to say about an Impact. And I'm just glad that I had the career that I did. So yeah, 2016 was my last in-ring physical match. Yeah.
Gotcha. Well, it seems, everything's happening for a reason. You had a lot of full circle moments, and now you have this new chapter of wrestling in many ways, this unexpected chapter.
Yes.
But you're doing all these other things as well. So, before we say goodbye, just tell some folks of how to follow you. I know you have your signings, you have your podcast, you have so much going on. You're really staying busy. So, to let people know what's going on.
Thank you. I have to stay busy or it'll drive me crazy. No, but again, I'm very grateful to be given again this opportunity and this new role in wrestling, because I did think like, okay, well, if I can't wrestle anymore, then no one's going to want to work with, no one's going to want to hire me to do anything else. So it was kind of like I was like, man, that sucks, because wrestling's in your blood. I mean, I've been in wrestling since 2001. It's 2021 now, and it's still, I can't get enough of the business, So I feel like I will always be a part of it in some way, shape, or form as long as it will have me. So this new commentating role again is just a breath of fresh air, and it's just a different role, and I'm very grateful to be in it. But yeah, as far as social media goes, I'm on Twitter at VelVelHoller. I'm on Instagram at SkyIsVelvet. I do cameo videos now. I'm doing like one-on-one calls where you have to have the Cameo app. You just download the app and messages go out to everyone who follows me on Cameo. I do like one-on-one calls with fans, and it gives them like that, that personal kind of intimate 5 minutes to just chit chat like that, just like you and I are.
Yeah.
And then I do the videos as well, personalized video shout outs. So it's cameo.com/Velvet Sky. And Angelina Love and myself, we do our own podcast. A new episode drops every Sunday. It's called The Beautiful Podcast, and it's under Vince Russo's brand. So if you go to russosbrand.com and you just look for like The Beautiful Podcast, you have to subscribe. I believe it's either $4.95 or $4.99 a month. And we just talk about anything and everything. Like, we do not hold back. We don't sugarcoat anything. We don't bury anybody or talk shit like that about anybody, but we definitely have some drinks. We get loose. We have a good time. You know what I mean?
Very nice.
And as far as NWA Power goes, for those, because people ask me all the time now that I'm there, how do I see you there? How do I see you there? It's not on TV. So it's on, you download the Fight TV app. For those that don't know, it's FITE TV. You search for NWA Power, and that's with 3 R's. And again, it's $4.99 a month. You just subscribe to it for $4.99 a month, and you get to see all the weekly shows. It airs on the Fight TV app every Tuesday night, 6:05 Eastern Standard.
Love that.
Yeah, and that's where you can see me and all the amazing athletes and the NWA. I mean, a lot of hard work goes into producing those shows. I see everybody. You know, I kind of have to sit in on the production meetings now because I'm on commentary. So I have to know what's going on the shows. And just to sit there and like listen to like, you know, Billy talking and addressing everybody. And it's an amazing experience for me. And I'm just very, very, very grateful to be there. So everybody check us out every Tuesday, 6:05 p.m. NWA Power on Fight TV. And you can stream from your cell phone right to your TV, which is so cool.
Technology.
On your phone. And there's a chat room too. So you can like chat with other people who are watching the show as well, give your opinions, your feedback. And that's pretty much it.
Well, for me, it's a bucket list. One day, I hope to make it to one of those Atlanta TV tapings.
Yes.
That's just center stage. Just the whole aura of it. It's just that's a must for any like old school fan, I think.
Yeah.
So that's got to have been fun for you to kind of now be on that set.
I love old school everything, and I love where we film in Atlanta because it's in that studio and it just has that like old school, you know, wrestling feeling to it. And I feel like that's kind of what makes the NWA stand out amongst other wrestling companies. Again, I'm not saying this because I work there. This was my opinion even before I started working there. I'm like, wow, they're just sticking to that old school roots, the way they do the segments in the back and the interviews at the podium right after the matches. It's just like I'm old school to the T. So I fit right in there like beautifully. Yeah.
Old school wrestling and Nickelodeon. That's the way to.
Oh my God, Nickelodeon was everything. Smith was everything. Are you Afraid of the Dark?
Are You Afraid of the Dark? Yes. Dude, I haven't watched the new one, but
some of those episodes, I mean, I love like horror stuff and scary movies and stuff like that. So like as a kid, like I wasn't really like scared a lot from cheesy things. I'm like, oh my God, this is supposed to be scary and it's stupid. But Are You Afraid of the Dark? I'm not going to lie. Some of those episodes were so eerie and creepy. I was like, ooh, okay. But
anything with puppets for me was that I have to watch out. We'll have to catch up another episode, talking Nickelodeon and everything. Maybe a couple of months down the line, we'll see where you're at with the NWA. But thank you so much. It was great catching up with you, Velvet.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure. Thank you so much.